Look, most people don't get unlucky with money. They get comfortable with money. And then they wake up at 55 doing mental math in a grocery aisle like, wait, why is everything so expensive? And the wild part is, the difference between being rich later and stressed later usually comes down to a few boring moves you either start in your 20s or you don't. My name is Alex, and I spend way too much time thinking about building wealth with boring systems that survive real life. If you're someone who feels behind, overwhelmed, or like you're doing okay but not actually getting ahead, make sure to hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if this helps you out. Here's what most people don't realize. Being rich at old age is not an income goal. It's a behavior goal. Plenty of high earners end up broke because they upgrade their life the second their paycheck grows. And plenty of average earners end up wealthy because they're running a system that automatically turns income into assets. So let's build that system specifically for ages 20 to 30. I'm going to give you a simple framework. 1. Raise your earning power faster than inflation. 2. Keep your lifestyle below your income on purpose. 3. Invest the difference automatically into boring, diversified stuff. 4. Protect yourself from financial landmines that wipe people out. If you do those 4 things consistently, you don't need perfect timing. You don't need to be a genius. You don't need to pick winning stocks. You need consistency. And yes, there's nuance. Some people have family support. Some people are starting with debt. Some people live in expensive cities. That's real. But the system is still the system. The goal isn't to become a finance robot. The goal is to set up your life so that future you gets rich while current you still lives like a human. Let's start with the most unfair advantage on planet Earth, time. If you're 25 and you invest even a modest amount every month, you get something that a 35-year-old can't buy back: a decade of compounding. Here's simple math rounded real lifestyle. Imagine you invest $300 a month from 25 to 65. That's not luxury money. That's car payment money. Over 40 years, you personally contribute about $144,000. Now markets move around, but long-term, a lot of diversified portfolios average something like 7 to 9% a year before inflation, depending on the time period. Let's be conservative-ish and call it around 7%. That $300 a month can grow into something like $700,000 to $1 million-ish territory over a lifetime. Not because you were brilliant, because you were early and consistent. Now here's the part that hurts. If you wait 10 years and start at 35, you can't just catch up emotionally. You have to catch up mathematically. You might need closer to $800 a month to land in the same neighborhood later. This is where people mess up. They think wealth is about intensity. It's not. It's about starting before you feel ready. Okay, so investing matters. But investing is not step 1. Step 1 is you need margin. And margin comes from earning power. If you're 20 to 30, your number one financial asset is not your crypto wallet. It's not your car. It's not your grind set. It's your ability to earn more over the next 10 to 15 years. Here's the big shift I want you to make. Stop thinking, how do I make more money this month? And start thinking, how do I become more expensive? You become more expensive by stacking skills that create leverage. Skills that save companies time. Skills that increase revenue. Skills that automate boring work. Skills that reduce risk. Skills that make you hard to replace. And this is where AI gets really interesting. AI is either going to make you more valuable because you can output more, faster, or it's going to quietly replace the part of your job that pays you. So the play is simple. Be the person who uses AI to do the work, not the person watching AI do your work. Pick one wealth skill lane and go deep for 2 years. Data and analytics. Automation, no code, scripting, workflows. Sales and persuasion. Product, operations, and systems. Design and marketing that drives results. Cybersecurity and IT fundamentals. Then do the unsexy thing. Prove it with projects. Not vibes. Not I took a course. Projects. A portfolio. Proof. Because your biggest raises don't come from loyalty. They come from leverage switching roles, negotiating, moving to better opportunities, or stacking income streams. Now let's talk about the quiet killer, lifestyle inflation. This is the part where I get slightly frustrated because it's so predictable. People get a raise and immediately do nicer apartment, nicer car, nicer vacations, nicer everything, and then they swear they're still living paycheck to paycheck. No. You're living identity to identity. Here's what's happening psychologically. You're not buying the thing. You're buying the feeling of not being left behind. Most people don't want a nicer car. They want the relief of thinking, I'm doing okay. But the math doesn't care about your coping mechanisms. So here's a rule that actually changes lives. When your income goes up, your investing goes up first. Not after you celebrate. Not after you settle in. First. If you get a raise of $400 a month after taxes, you don't find places for it to disappear. You set an automatic rule. $250 goes to investing. $100 goes to savings. $50 goes to lifestyle. Now you still feel progress, but you don't trap yourself. Because being rich at 60 is mostly about not getting addicted to being upper broke at 30. Alright, how do you actually invest without turning it into a personality? You need 3 buckets. Bucket 1, safety cash. Roughly 3 to 6 months of basic expenses, not luxury expenses, basic survival expenses. This isn't an investment. This is a stress reducer. It stops you from going into credit card debt when life punches you. Bucket 2, long-term investing. Automatic. Boring. Diversified. Think broad funds that spread risk across many companies, not one stock I feel good about. Set it up to buy every month. The goal is to remove your emotions. Bucket 3, short-term goals. Moving out, a car, a business idea, education money you might need in the next few years. This money shouldn't be forced into risky stuff if you need it soon. And here's the one sentence that saves people from themselves. Don't invest money you'll need in the next few years. Because if the market drops and you need cash at the same time, you're forced to sell at the worst moment and then you say investing doesn't work. It works. Your timeline didn't. So automate the long-term bucket, keep your safety bucket boring, and keep your short-term goals separate so you don't sabotage the plan. Now, debt. Not all debt is equally evil, but some debt is basically financial quicksand, especially high-interest consumer debt. If you're carrying credit card balances and you're also investing, you're kind of doing the equivalent of running on a treadmill while someone steals your shoes. A practical order that works for most people. First, build a small starter buffer like 1 month of basic expenses so you stop relapsing into debt every time something goes wrong. Second, kill high-interest debt aggressively. Third, build the full 3 to 6 month emergency fund. Fourth, go heavier on long-term investing. Also protect yourself. Wealth building is not just offense. It's defense. Don't drive uninsured. Don't live with zero buffer. Don't ignore basic health stuff until it becomes expensive. Don't co-sign loans because it's family. That last one? People ruin their financial lives trying to be nice. Be kind, but don't be financially absorbent. Let's talk behavior because money is rarely a math problem. It's an emotion problem. Most bad financial decisions come from one of these. Ego, I deserve this. Status, I can't look broke. Fear, what if everything collapses? Scarcity, I have to grab pleasure now. Identity, I'm just not a money person. If you're 2030, you're surrounded by comparison fuel 24/7. You see highlights. You don't see debt. You don't see stress. You don't see the quiet panic behind the lifestyle. So you need a personal rule. You don't spend to impress people who don't fund your retirement. And you need a system that protects you from your own moods. Automatic transfers the day after payday. Investing that happens whether you feel confident or not. A simple monthly money meeting with yourself, 20 minutes, one coffee, look at the numbers. The goal is not to be perfect. The goal is to be consistent enough that your future becomes predictable. And predictable is what rich actually looks like from the inside. Okay. Here's the 2030 Wealth Playbook, the practical version. Step 1. Track one number. Your savings rate, what percent of your take-home pay you keep or invest. If you're at 5%, aim for 10. If you're at 10, aim for 15. A lot of people who retire comfortably spend years hovering around 15 to 25%, not because they were monks, but because they built it gradually. Step 2. Automate future you first. On payday. Emergency fund auto transfer until it's full. Long-term investing auto buy. Bills. Then lifestyle. Step 3. Build a raise plan. Every 6 months ask, what skill would make me harder to replace? What proof can I produce in 30 days? What role pays more for this skill? Then either negotiate or move. Harsh truth. Loyalty rarely compounds. Skills do. Step 4. Avoid the big 3 money traps. A car payment that eats your future. Rent so high you can't breathe. Recurring subscriptions you don't even notice. Step 5. Keep your circle sane. If your friend's main hobby is spending money, you're going to have to develop the superpower of saying, nah, I'm good. You don't need new friends. You need a stronger identity. Step 6. Stay in the game. You don't quit investing because the news is scary. You don't go all in because the news is exciting. You just keep buying. That's it. That's the cheat code. Steady inputs for a long time. Now you might be thinking, okay, Alex, but what if I don't make that much? Then the play is, keep the system, shrink the numbers, and focus even harder on earning power. If you can only invest $50 a month right now, do it. Not because $50 is magic, but because it proves you're the kind of person who invests. Identity matters. Or you might be thinking, what if the market crashes? Crashes are normal. They're not a surprise event. They're part of the price you pay to get long-term growth. The real danger is not the crash. It's panic selling, locking in losses, and then waiting until it feels safe, which usually means buying back later at higher prices. Or maybe, what if I start late? Then you do the same system just more aggressively. More income growth, higher savings rate, fewer expensive mistakes. The plan still works. It just needs more intensity because you have less time. The only losing move is doing nothing because you can't do everything. Let me wrap this up in one sentence. If you're 20-30 and you build earning power, avoid lifestyle traps, and invest automatically, you will almost accidentally become wealthy later. Not overnight. Not flashy, but steadily. If you want, I can make a follow-up video where I break down a simple 0 to first 100,000 path with realistic income levels because that first 100,000 is mostly behavior, not brilliance. Hit subscribe if you want more practical money systems, and drop a comment. What's the hardest part for you right now? Income, spending, debt, or consistency? Quick common sense disclaimer. This is for education and entertainment, not personal financial advice. Your situation is unique. Income, debt, taxes, and risk tolerance all matter. So make decisions you understand and consider talking to a qualified professional if you need personalized guidance.